Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is episode 4 of our Transport Fever 2 Let's Play. We're taking a look at the passenger line that we set up last episode. I just wanted to really quick apologize for some of the choppiness in some of the previous videos. I'm still trying to work out the export settings for when I render these videos to put them on YouTube, so I've tried working on the target and maximum bitrate for the export, and I think that this video should have better quality. I'm actually not going to upload this video until I get the quality down, at least to where it's not going pixelated when I, zoom way out and move around the map. So, getting into this video, you can see our passenger line here, and it's working pretty well. We've got, let's see, we got 3 vehicles moving on it now, so 1 coming down from Bodmin, 2 about to switch off here in Bradley Stoke, and then 1 coming into Bradley Stoke from the south. So I think it would be good to get another vehicle on this line. And the reason I say that is you can see that we're starting to get some pretty decent queues lined up at some of these stops. So by adding another vehicle right here, it'll give some good spacing with the vehicles that are already on the line. So goals for today. One thing that I really want to do is set up this passenger rail line from Chatham going through Northam and then up to Stourbridge. I also really want to set up this oil line with the ship going across with the crude, bringing the refined oil down here to this refinery, and then start trucking some into Heathfield, and then probably eventually running a rail line down, mirroring a passenger line connecting into Stourbridge. So we could actually envision that passenger line running from Chatham, curving up past Stourbridge through Tetford and then up to Heathfield, and then with a mirroring cargo line that's bringing oil down here to Stourbridge. So first of all, we still have a little bit of a loan, so I'm going to go ahead and pay that off. Might as well. Don't want to pay the interest on that. And we're going to go ahead, we're going to build a pair of harbors. Now, this one is already really good. It's really close, so if we go into our cargo harbor, just rotate that around. And I like to try and get it lined up pretty well with the building itself. And then we're going to leave enough room for a road to go through there. So I'll probably put that there, and then let's check to see if we can get a nice road through there. Oh, and see, so that's actually painted on there. So I might have to use a bit larger road to make this work. I didn't realize that was painted. I thought that was part of the asset, but that's fine. So now when we select this, we see that it's in the catchment area. I'm just gonna come down the side of this. Try and curve it in, just so that it looks a little nicer. And then if we go in here, we're going to configure this. We want to get rid of this cargo platform because we're going to put in purely aesthetic. I don't need 2 landings. I just think it's going to look nicer. And then we'll get a smaller brush size, and I actually want to pull this land up and around, and then dig out some of this land in front of the harbor so that it looks, and go back in and smooth this out a little bit, just so that it looks like the harbor is really, you've got a nice deep water area, you don't have this shallow, and the land is pulled up right behind the harbor platforms. And so now we've got 2 landings, not entirely necessary unless we want to build a harbor here and then later a harbor here and just have 2 ships bringing in crude. That's not a bad idea. So now we're going to need to dig out a little bit of land here, and this is going to be really expensive, so I'm going to tick up this speed so that we can start to get a little bit more money rolling in. In the meantime, you can see that we're not clearing these passenger platforms. So our passenger train with 32 capacity, it left probably about 10 on the platform. If we come down here to Bradley Stoke, 23 and 13, it might be able to clear depending on how many of these passengers are actually getting off of Bradley Stoke. And then a similar thing if we come down to Chatham. It's only got 8, but a train just left with a full load, so it likely left people on the platform. And you can see our bus route starting to do well. The tram route's still not making us money. That's to be expected. Trams are very expensive, but I just enjoy using trams. But you can see that our Chatham bus to train is now starting to make us some money. We pause it real quick and find it again. Okay. It's right on the line, just depending on when it's dropping people off. So we might want to think about adding some more passenger cars. And you can see just how expensive this is going to be to dig this out, because I want to get it so that the harbor is in the catchment area of the crude oil well, so that we don't have to, truck crude oil down to the harbor or anything like that. It will just place the crude oil onto the harbor, and then the ships can move back and forth. And once we get this set up, this ship is going to get paid really well, because it's going to be moving crude oil over and then refined oil back. So it's going to end up getting paid very, very well for the job that it's doing. And I'm just going to... That loan that I just paid off, I'm just going to go ahead and take that out again. Which is fine. Later in the game, once you've got just boatloads of money, you'll be able to afford pretty much any big project that you want to do. I think this is close enough. I think it's close enough, but we're gonna have to check here. So if I come in here and flatten out this area right here. And then we curve that in. Yes, so that is in the catchment area of the crude oil facility. This should work really nicely. So again, we're gonna go in here and delete this. We only need one platform here. We actually might need 2. And the reason I say we might need 2 is because we might end up having 2 ships of crude coming in here, and then I would want them both to go drop back off. I don't know, we'll see. I also just think that 2 platforms looks a little bit nicer than just having the one. And again, at this point, you're probably thinking, like, you're spending so much money on extra stuff that's not entirely necessary. And I definitely understand that that viewpoint. But it's just the way that I like to play. And you can actually see, so if we go in here to the configure, you can see that the land is not fully dug out. So we're going to have to dig out a little bit more here to get these landings to go in. Because you can see they're outside of navigable waters, because there's land interfering . can just go ahead and bring this back once we've got those placed. And then smooth this back out. So now we've got our two cargo harbors set up, and we're going to need a rail line bringing the oil that we just brought back over. We're going to need to bring that oil down here to this refinery. So I'm actually going to try something. So if I connect this in like this. If I connect this in like this and then delete this road, is this... It is. So I'm actually going to delete this side road because it's still connected. And that way I can go ahead and put in a terminus cargo station with just one platform. So that we can load the refined oil onto this train. And bring it down. So now this rail station is in catchment of the port, obviously, because it's so close. And when the ships bring back the refined oil, they'll load it directly onto this platform, which will bring it right down here. And just trying to think about future lines, this might benefit being a pass-through station, pass-through cargo station. I think it probably would. So I'll put a 240 meter pass-through cargo station somewhere along here, trying to line up fairly well with that line. Maybe here. So now if we come in and we place a road here and then loop that road back down here, and that's in catchment there. We're going to need a truck stop with one platform. And this truck stop is going to enable us to deliver oil into Heathfield. And we'll just set that up like we normally do with the one way in, the one way out. And then we'll go in here and we'll put a truck stop downtown in Heathfield. And you can see this is where the oil is demanded. I imagine that as this city grows, the oil will probably spread out in this direction. So I'm going to have them come into the city, drop right here, and then I'll put a waypoint just in case I need them to figure out how they want to turn around. So it'll come from the refinery up to here, and then loop back around. And this is going to be a truck. And it's going to be Heathfield Fuel. F-U-E-L, fuel. Purple is fine. I want the trucks to wait for as long as they can to pick up the fuel. And then we're going to go ahead and build a truck depot, or a vehicle depot, right here in this little industrial area. And we'll go ahead and we'll just put maybe 3 vehicles on this line for now. Again, just so that when the line gets set up, the vehicles will have an idea of some demand existing on the line. And you can see we're going to have a bridge here. Now, do I want this waterway to be available for shipping? I'm probably going to say yes. And you can actually see that where this is now, it maintains the waterway. So you can see if we were to bring it down, now the waterway is blocked. There's no way for a ship to get through. But if we bring it up to where it was, shipping can get through. Even if it's going to be tight, shipping can get through. I mean, I could even go in and kind of landscape this out so that it's a much clearer passageway. But this will work. So we'll go ahead and we'll put that in. And we're going to want a pass-through. Now, envisioning this to be a through station that could have other cargo lines or passenger lines on it, I'm going to and I actually just realized that I may have wanted to leave space for a passenger. You know what? I'm just going to leave it the way it is, but I'm going to put a parallel track on here for the cargo to pass through. It doesn't want to snap. There we go. And you can see it maintained a nice shared bridge. We'll bring this line further down. This has been a very expensive line to put in, primarily because of this enormously long bridge. But we're trying to maintain the speeds of the train, so, you know, I don't mind the bridge as much. We'll come in here, we will place a rail depot. And if we place it here, see up here, it's up on the rise, but if we get it close enough to the track, it actually brings it down to track level. So I'll go ahead and put that in, bring it close to the track, and then merge it in. And now for signals, we want one way, we want auto signal for 400 meters, and we'll send that down. It gets down to about here. That's a good distance. That's pretty good from this split. I might just go ahead and move these last two signals closer to this split, and then add a pair roughly halfway between here so that the trains can just get going. Now down here, this is going to be kind of weird. We need a signal for the split and then one just before that merge. So now we have the train set up, or at least we have the infrastructure for the train set up. We're going to set up a line. This is going to be Reapum. So this is going to be a rail line. Reapum to Heathfield Oil. And now, when the trains are waiting here, I want them to wait for a full load for maybe 90 seconds while they wait at Reapum. Just because these ships are going to be going back and forth with oil. And now we're going to get a getting a ship depot, I guess, if you want to call it that. I'm actually gonna sneak it in over here because I like to try and get these lined up with these harbors. I just think it looks nicer. It looks like it belongs. I don't like them just out in the middle of nowhere. So we'll add that in here. And now we need to set up the shipping line. So it'll come from Reapem over here to also Reapem. It'll go 1-to-1, that's fine. I like that because it being on the left-hand side here means that if we incorporate another ship, it leaves these right-hand ports or harbor slips open for the ships to move freely without interfering with these. Now, it won't actually interfere. Ships will clip through one another, unlike trains or trucks or buses. The ships will clip through one another, but yeah. Now, this is actually a new feature from the update. These waypoints that you can use, so you can actually place a route that you want these ships to take, which I actually think is really cool. Because sometimes the shipping lines can do these crazy things where they're crossing over one another and they're just doing all this weird stuff. So having these waypoints is going to be really a really fun tool to use. So they're going to wait 90 seconds to get a full load of crude at Reapem sidings, and then we'll probably have them wait for a full load, but maybe only for 30 seconds for oil, because the priority is that they get this place supplied with oil. That is the #1 priority. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to buy a ship. We're going to go into cargo. You can also sort it by large or small, because there's actually two different. If we go into the configure, there's a small dock and a large dock. We went with large docks just so that we can use these large ships, because if you go into the small ships, I mean, they're fine. The Schaffhausen is actually a really good early cargo ship. It honestly might be the ideal pick right now. It's a bit more expensive, but it has the same cargo capacity and it's much faster than the Vandal. So we'll actually go with one of these Schaffhausens, and it's going to be this pink color. And we'll put this on the crude line. Get that going, and you can see, you'll see our nice pink Schaffhausen. You should start to see crude piling up here, and now we need to get a train on here. So we'll go with, I might preempt this one and go with a higher speed train for now. So maybe we'll go with 90 capacity for this train. And this is going to be on our oil line. And now we've got vehicles to deliver the fuel. They are not waiting for some reason, because I want them to load full. But those vehicles will wait there. This train is now waiting. At this point, we're going to get another of these ships on this line to get a bit more crude going back and forth. You can see he's bringing over a full load. And now we've got 2 ships. This should stay pretty balanced for a while. 2 ships, maybe 3. But I think 2 will probably be a good number for now. We'll go ahead, we'll pay off a little bit of this loan. We'll just pay off the whole thing. And you can actually see now, this ship's going to come in. There's a pretty good amount of crude waiting on that dock. He's going to drop this off, and then this is immediately going to start producing oil. He'll wait for a little bit, because we told him to wait for 30 seconds. Because the priority is to get the crude oil over here. We want this to have a surplus of crude. And if it means that they wait a little bit longer over here for a full load as compared to waiting over here, I'm okay with that. Now, 90 seconds, we'll just have to look to see how this functions. I might adjust this down maybe to 60 seconds just because this isn't a very far run. I'm also going to change this color just because it's conflicting with another purple line in the area, so I'll change this to blue. 90 seconds, we'll say wait 60 seconds. Just because these ships are actually pretty fast, and they can move back and forth pretty easily. And you'll see, just as he's about to run out, we're filling him back up. We might want to add, honestly, another ship onto this line. It'll be better once we get higher capacity ships for this line. We're just going to let this breathe now for a little bit and kind of get set up. You can see he's coming back with a pretty good amount of oil, not a ton. So one thing that we did say that we wanted to do was upgrade some of these, or all of these, passenger trains to have a bit more capacity. To have a bit more capacity for when they're, moving up and down so that they can clear these lines. So if we look, he cleared this station. That's good. We have a passenger train that just left here. He did not clear to Chatham, and then this passenger train did clear up to Bozeman. This passenger train, there is no passenger train up here. Oh, yes, there is. He did not clear Bozeman. Or he may have. He may have gotten pretty close. But it's definitely close. If we go ahead and look at this passenger line, you can see it's just about losing us money. The frequency on the line is 6 minutes. That's not very good. So I'm going to go ahead and probably add one more train onto this line, just to improve that frequency a little bit. So if we go into here and add one more train, and then I'm actually going to stop this guy to let this train get out onto this line. And just get a little bit of space in front of him. Just so that the trains are a little bit more spaced out. It'll help with the flow of the line if we can get these trains a little bit more spaced out. So now if we go into this line, and we want to edit these, if we wanted to add on, if we wanted to get the same capacity, so 135, with these new improved 135, 50 miles an hour. Oh, I guess I already swapped them out. Maybe I took out a loan to do that last time. Are these trains reaching 50 miles an hour? I mean, that'll be great if they are. 32. Yeah. So they're actually, these are the new cars. That's good. I thought that we still had to update those. But no, that's good. It's functioning well. We've got a good amount of vehicles here, and you just saw we just got some new buses. So it might be a good opportunity to come into some of these bus lines and update them with some faster buses. Because if we go into here and we swap out these buses, these are these, whatever, Gaganows. Oh, interesting. They have a higher capacity of 1, but they actually have a lower top speed. So I'm not going to swap these out. I mean, these might be a little bit better, like inner city, where they're not actually getting up to speed. But for these routes that are going between cities, I actually think that we probably want a little bit faster of a bus, even if it's only 3 miles per hour. This is still struggling to get enough grain. We might be able to get away with adding another couple vehicles onto this grain line. But that's honestly just kind of it's gonna struggle until we can get to the point where we've either got higher capacity trucks, or if we put a rail line in there. I don't really want to just put a rail line for one farm to a food processing. I would love it if there was a second farm kind of in line that could bring in grain. Like this, for instance, these two could deliver to this one facility and then deliver in there. Not a terrible idea, but one farm for one grain I don't think is worth putting in a rail line. So if we come back over here, this guy's starting to do pretty good with produce. He's got a good store of crude oil. He's producing, you know, a fair amount of refined oil. There's a good store of crude on the dock for when these guys come back to fuel up. And this train, let's see if he stays long enough to catch this fuel. He did from the ship, and now he'll go back out, and this line is getting set up pretty well. How's he doing? He's got a pretty good store of refined oil. He'll probably just about run out by the time this train gets back. And we're starting to get some oil shipped in here to Heathfield. I just wanted to make sure that I set the maintenance level on these to high. I did. These trucks, these Heathfield trucks, are just about moving this oil. So 3 is probably okay for now. I'll probably up that to, you know, 4 or 5 in the future. So now a passenger line running from Chatham through Northam up to Stourbridge is going to be the next thing that we want to look at. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to pause real quick just because I want to configure this, and I don't want a train in here when I do so. We're going to go ahead. We're going to add another rail line. We'll bring that in here. It lines up really nice. And then we're going to branch off here, and we're going to go to Northam. Now, one thing that I was thinking is that there is a oil sand to fuel and sand here, and a construction materials plant here that uses sand and produces construction materials. So I was thinking that there might be a little shuttle rail line running between these two at some point in the future. So I was actually thinking of bending this track just behind so that we wouldn't interfere with a future freight rail line running right here. So if that's what I'm going to do, it means that I would want my station here on the backside of Northam. The problem with that is, look at this terrain. This terrain is not suited for that. So I'm probably just going to go ahead and put a station here, and then we'll have to figure out some alternative way of moving this sand back and forth between these two. So that being said, we're going to come in here, and we are going to place a rail station, a pass-through passenger station, 240 meters with 2 platforms. And we kind of want it to be lined up something like that. How would that work for where we're going? We've got plenty of space. The game's not going to like that because that's a mainline connection. But I'll probably put this in maybe about right here. And then if we come back in here to our streets, place a street here that's connected in. I'm going to upgrade this street. Bring it off to here. We'll curve that in. Bring this street up a little bit further. Bring him down here. We will curve this in here. And this in here. And now we need to figure out how we want our buses to circulate. So I'm thinking if they pick up here, they can come down. Come across here. So they'll pick up, maybe have a stop here, run down. See, this is why these roads developing the way that they did is a little frustrating, because I would like to blast a road right through here. That's what I would like to do. If we go into our bus stops, actually, if we have a stop here and a stop here, so that is a pretty good block length, actually. So what I'll probably do is I'll bring this road down here and I'll connect it in right there. And then I'm just going to delete this road so that it doesn't develop in an odd way. Connect that in there. And then if you go into our terrain, it's still pretty flat right here. So I'm okay making this connection. This connection is fine by me. And now they have a nice loop to run. If you see. So we'll have a stop here. Maybe a stop here. Probably a stop directly opposite that one, which would, that's fine. And then maybe 2 stops on these sides. I could probably get away with 1. I could probably get away with 1 because this catchment area goes to there. Yeah, I could probably get away with just 1 stop. And then maybe 1 stop here. So if we set up a new line for these, what may or may not be trams. I do love trams. I'm going to make these buses. I'm going to make them buses. Which is fine. Buses are fine. Buses will work perfectly well in this scenario. And now we need to reconnect this main line. And I just realized we don't have a... Do we have a bus route going in between? Going in between Northam to Bradley bus. Where's this? Oh, this stop is right here. Okay. So, for this, I'm going to lay the track, and then I'm probably going to have to bridge. I'm probably going to have to bridge this mainline connection. So what does it want to do there? It wants to split off right here and tunnel there. I might have them all go into the same tunnel and then split off underground. Just because this tunnel here kind of looks odd with this tunnel here. So I'll have them go into this tunnel. And we're going to need a second line. So So we had a second line there, and then a branch merging in here. We'll carry this down. We'll go into this tunnel. This is an enormous tunnel now. And now if we grab this track and come into here, how does that look? That looks good. I like that. And then we'll do the same here. I want to make sure that this is going to make just one tunnel, unlike the double tunnel nonsense that we got in the first episode. And we will put our X in here. And now we need to think about how to connect this main line. So I'm going to back this road up and then probably bridge over and connect here. So if I go with a street and I curve this over and I make it into a bridge, it's a pretty high, steep bridge, but if you hold shift, so if you use M and N, M brings things up, N brings things down. So this is not, there's collision here. So if we hit M once, it brings us up to the first thing that will work. If you hold shift and then use N, you can bring it down just to the point where it's at the lowest height that actually still works. I think that looks nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that in. And then we will connect these back up. And now you see that there's no issue. These know exactly where they're going. I am going to move this bus stop right here again so that they can change. So that they can change over. So instead of going to Park Avenue, they're going to go here. And then I kind of want them to do maybe a loop down this, maybe down here and out. Oh, I actually might have them change over at the train station, now that I think about it. Let's see, so if I get rid of this street and I add this as a station. Okay, yeah, so they're gonna wanna do that. So I'm gonna have them come down here. I'm gonna get rid of that stop. So after Bradley Stoke Waypoint, I'm gonna have them come here, and now they'll loop through here. And I just wanna change this to stop number 1 so that they stay on that side. And now, if you live in Bradley Stoke and you wanna go to Northam, you'll change here and you'll take the bus into town. If you live in Bradley Stoke and you want to get to Starbridge, rather than hopping on the train at Bradley Stoke and going down to the Chatham station to change over trains, you can actually take a bus down directly to the Northam train station and then get on the train right there. Yeah. I like the way that this is functioning. I'm probably going to make this connection here to see if we can get this line to not go through this. Is this a residential? No, that's a commercial area, so that's okay, actually. Okay. So now we can resume the game because we reconnected the main line from Bradley Stoke up to Northam. So this functions now. We have an at-grade crossing here. That's fine. I like to get rid of the at-grade crossings eventually, but if there's not a lot of traffic using them, I don't mind it so terribly much. We have these trains moving back and forth. Where's our second train? It's up there. So I actually might, if I can afford it, can't, how much is it going to cost to get another train on this line? Because I would love to get another train, because you can see that this is again, it's starting to be starved. Both of these are starting to be starved. We need more capacity on these lines. This Chatham fuel line needs a couple more vehicles on it. So I'm going to, let's see, I just got another $1 million from that delivery. Man. Take out a little bit of a loan to try and get another vehicle on this line. And that's actually really good spacing, because there's a train leaving here right now. I'm just going to pause him for a sec, just to let this guy get on the track. And then once he actually gets on the track, I will free this guy up, just so that they're a little bit spaced out. So he's on the track now, so I'll let him go. And I'm just trying to get a little bit more spacing, or a little bit more capacity on this fuel line. So now that we have this in, this passenger station, the next passenger station is going to be up here at Stourbridge, probably on this south side, so that it's an easier bend up to Tetford in the future. So we're going to need to put a station in here. I don't want to put the trains on this line yet, not until we actually get our second station established, so that we can try and get some good spacing on the line. You can see though, now that we added this other train, it brought our frequency down to 5 minutes. Not terrible. That will improve as we get better trains on the line that are a bit faster and can move more people with more regularity. Let's go back up here and see how this fuel line is doing. These trucks, these 3 trucks that we have on this line are still keeping up with the fuel production pretty well. You can see though, this is about to upgrade. So I'll probably get maybe 2 more vehicles on this line preemptively, so that there's a, a capacity to move the freight efficiently. These ships are leaving with full loads. It looks like pretty much right when they land, and there's a good capacity of refined oil on this line. And I would imagine that these ships are performing extremely well. Yeah, they're our 3rd largest producer, or of money, and then you could actually see that this oil rail line is our 2nd. And the good thing about these ships is that they're getting paid both ways. So they're getting paid when they pick up, or they're getting paid when they drop crude off here and refined oil back here. The only thing about it is it's not a particularly long journey that they're making. So they're not going to be paid, an astronomical amount. But you can see that this is about to upgrade. This has not yet, but I would imagine that when this upgrades, it's going to push this to upgrade a little bit further. So this line is doing really well. You'll see that this is coming in with a pretty good amount of crude, keeping this topped off, picking up a decent amount of oil for its return journey. So this line is going to work really well, and it's going to help Heathfield grow a little bit. So now, next up, we want to put in this rail station down here. And I'm just going to preemptively lay down some roads. I know that Stourbridge hasn't grown to the point where it needs these roads, but they're just going to set up the city for good. So now we have a good block right here. This is a good block for buses to circulate. And now I'll go in here. We're going to need a passenger station with a pass-through. And we're going to want it right in line with this road. I'll probably delete that road on the left of the station, just to clear it out of the way. And now we're going to want to run, this is going to be a very expensive line. So we're going to take this inside track. We're going to come all the way over to here. Big game does not like it. And we're going to put it there. It's going to cost $6.5 million. Let's see what it's going to do. So we're going to have, oh, wow, a massive, massive bridge. Massive bridge. How far does this bridge go? Oh my lord. Cuts through there, so that's an issue. That bridge is just not doable. So we're going to get rid of that. But one thing that we did see is that we have to go around this. So do we want to go to the left or to the right? I don't think it really matters. We're kind of on the edge of the map. There's not that much going on here. But seeing that we're definitely going to want to get this oil sand here. I don't want to interfere with that. So I'm going to go on the I guess, the left. The way that we're oriented right now. So if I put that there, and then let's see what this wants to do now. So there's a collision somewhere. Where is it colliding? It's colliding with this road. So now you can see, and again, we're doing this crazy bridge. That's actually not too. It's actually not too crazy. So if I go through here and I delete this road, just to try and give me some space to work with. So now we're connected in to the outside track there. Is this the outside track here? It is. We're going to have an at-grade crossing here. That's fine. We're going to have a tunnel here that opens up onto a bridge that extends a decent ways, but I mean, that's going to be expensive to... Screw it. We did it. That's fine. So now let's bring this out. Let's bring this down onto this bridge. Just make sure that it's using the same bridge. It is. Bring it up here. I don't like building a shared bridge and a shared tunnel all in one drag. I think it will end up messing up one or the other. Just making sure we got a shared tunnel again. We do. Now we'll drag this down here. Doesn't like something that's going on. And this is an extremely long run, which is going to be awesome once we get some higher speed rail going on. Once we get higher speed rail, these long runs are great because they allow the trains to get up to, you know, top speed and then sit there for a long period of time. We'll add in these signals. And they came all the way back to here, which is great. Let's just make sure that they went back to where we wanted them. Right before that split. Perfect. And now I just realized that we never put our signals in on this line. So we'll add them there. Coming all the way down to here. And then we'll add another signal. And now we're going to need a pair of signals right before this split. And now we should be able to set up our line. So if we do a new line, where's this line? All right, this is the Northam. It's going to be a bus. Northam. Bus to train. But now if we do this line, We'll add the passenger station here, passenger station here, and then passenger station all the way down here. And let's make this a nice dark green color. This is going to be a rail line, Chatham up to Stourbridge. And now we're going to want to get some trains on this line. I do want to reconnect this road. Doesn't really matter. What if I just do a... does it matter? I mean, it really doesn't, but I'm going to do it anyway. So if we just put a little pass-through tunnel underneath the track, smooth that out. Smooth out these tracks just so that it looks a little bit nicer. You can see that this is extremely expensive, and I ran out of money. That's fine though. We're making money now at a pretty good rate. We got a couple lines that are making us see, these are making us $1 million now each. Trams are still losing us money. The passenger line is still losing us money. The Northam to Bradley bus has no passengers. Oh, and it's because there are no buses on this line, so there's no way for people to get up to this stop. Interesting. Okay. So if we add a vehicle depot, trying to find a, an industrial or a commercial area. I'll add it right there. So now we need to get some buses on this line, and we just got these. So 22 miles an hour, 11 capacity. They're slower than the Gaggenau, but these are going to be just for inside the city. So maybe if we put 5 of those on this line, and what is it? It's like a pink line. And we'll add those onto this line. And now we should start to see some people start to get back on the this Northam to Bradley bus route, because now people can actually swap over and get into town here. We should start to see that. We'll come back to that in a little bit. And I just realized after this they need to go back to Northam so that they stop both ways. So now we need to get some trains on this line. So I'm going to build another train station, or a train depot, and I actually might put it just back here. So if I bring this track out, put a signal there, and put this in here, we can now get trains directly onto that line. These are going to be steam trains. Because it's such a long run, I think I'm going to go with these 56 mile an hour, these BR75s. The A3 is still just too expensive for running costs. What's the top speed of the BR75? 56 miles an hour. So we can use these 6-wheelers or these Donnerboosh. The running cost is pretty similar. I'll probably go with these 6-wheelers to start. Maybe 3. 3 to start, I think, is probably a pretty safe bet. And we'll just get one of these on this line. And this is going to be that nice dark green. And then we'll add it onto this Chatham to Stourbridge line. We can take a look at this nice new train. And this should be good. So now we've got a train on this line. We'll start to see passengers wanting to, you know, go on this train line. And you can already see, okay, so we got people, like I said, waiting for the Northam Bradley bus now because they can actually connect here. And we will start to see passengers getting on these lines. Now, this station is not going to function the way it's set up because there is no bus route that allows people to actually get down here. So we'll probably want 2 stops on these sides and 1 on the ends to get good coverage. So we'll put 1 here, 1 here, and here. Just go ahead and speed up time a little bit so we can get some money flowing in. And you can see now, right off the bat, the Chatham to Stourbridge passenger line losing us money. Good capacity on the Chatham to Bodeman route. If we had not added that extra train, the capacity ratio would be much better. But I would rather get a little bit of frequency and lose a little bit of money, if that makes sense. I would rather have more frequent service. So now we're going to add and this probably will be just a bus route. So if we go into here, this is going to be a bus. Stourbridge, bus to train. I don't like that gray, so I'm going to go with like a nice bluish purple. And now we're going to need a vehicle depot in here somewhere. And if I look, this is industrial here, so I'll probably have this load onto this side street. Like that. And we'll go ahead and we'll buy maybe 4 of these new buses for this bus route to start to get people circulating. Maybe 5. Just so that people start circulating around, and you can already see somebody just got picked up. So we're going to start to see some passengers. No passengers on this train yet. That's exactly what we want to see, but you're starting to see passengers showing up at some of these bus stops. Likely to get to this train. I mean, that's the only place that these buses go, is down to this train. So you're going to start to see, like, this guy has 2 passengers on him. I would imagine that these guys get off at this stop and then come over here. At least one of them did. One stayed on. But we're going to have 1 passenger now waiting here. Waiting here to take the train up to Northam or Chatham. So you're starting to see some passengers on this line. We've got 22 people here who want to go to Chatham. That's awesome. We got 13 on the line that want to go the other way. And this line frequency just has to be horrendous. 20 minutes of line frequency. So I'm going to let this build for just a little bit and probably add another train onto this line at some point. I mean, we're going to need to add a ton more trains onto this line. And you can see this guy's powering up still. This guy leveled up, so he's now producing a ridiculous amount of oil. So I'm actually going to get another ship onto this line so that he's running out. He's burning through the oil too fast. And we've got this ridiculous surplus of oil, crude oil, on this platform. So we're going to need to move this at a much higher rate. And I'll probably even get one more ship on here. I'll pause this guy just to let him get out in front. And then once he maybe gets, once these two pass, I'll probably release this guy, and then they can start going back and forth. What I don't want is I don't want these ships to start queuing. So if I come in here, I might even read them. Let's see how this works. So they've got a 30-second wait time right now. I don't want this ship to queue. $30 looks okay. I might honestly just make this load whatever you've got. I don't know. 30 seconds might work. Let's. Yeah, 30 seconds actually looks like it's okay. But 4 ships now, moving crude, hopefully we'll start to eat into this a little bit. And we're going to need to greatly expand the capacity of this train. It's only got 90, and let's see how much is on this platform. 272. So what I could do is I could either add a whole nother train, or I could increase the capacity of the train that's already on the line. Neither option is wrong. I will say I'm probably more inclined to just build an entire new train and add it on. So if we go in here and we build a new train, this has 90 capacity. That's going to cost me 6.3 million. 6.3 is probably doable to get another train on this line. We'll go in here, we'll borrow, a couple to get up to 6.3. We'll pause the game real quick. And now we'll bring this up to 90 capacity, buy it, resume the game. This is going to be that dark gray color. And now when this guy is probably, I'd say, in between these two signals, I'll add him onto the line just so that they have good spacing. And then that'll probably wrap up this this episode. So again, I apologize for some of the rendering issues with regard to the video quality. There's some pixelation that's going on when I zoom around and move around the map. So again, I'm going to try and have that fixed for this upload. And other than that, thank you guys very much for watching and for sticking with the series. If you want to check out another video, there will be a link to the playlist at the end of this video. I would love it if you would like, comment, let me know how I'm doing, subscribe if you want, and if not, I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much. Have a good rest of your day. We'll just go ahead and watch one of these nice new ships. All right, have a good day. Bye.